Hey guys, it's Vincent here with what if Saiki has omnitrix instead of its powers, but I'm going to be completely honest. Heroes cannot lie since Saiki will have 3 of his vision powers. So the main thing I like about the show is Saiki's pregnancy. So he needs to keep his telepathy, extra vision, and teleportation. The reason he has these powers because the telepathy made it so he's never surprised at why he's emotionless. The reason why he has exhibition is because the main reason he is attracted to Terashi because he can't see her since he just sees muscle and bones. And also teleportation, but I give him that power just because I like it. He also might get more powers, but that depends on the rest of the story. But I think I'll explain enough. So let's start the what if already. We start the story off with Saiki in the forest. Just like always, he's monologuing. He explains that 16 years ago, a normal couple gave birth to not so normal child. Because this child was a psychic. So you might be thinking, his life must have been a paradise within kin. Because with powers comes a cause. For example, he's never been surprised and have any idea what peace and quiet is like, since due to his telepathy, he can hear everybody's thoughts. He's also used to have super strength and powers, but he made a limiter a long time ago, which took away powers, but they already did enough damage. But even with the limiter, he was able to take away most of his powers, but he was still stuck with 3, which I will explain. But that's not important, because you're probably asking, why is he in a forest? Well, you see, his telepathy may have been weakened, but he can still hear thoughts within a 200-meter range. So he comes here to the forest to keep quiet. There are practically any people, but it's like he's leaning next to a tree. It's a shooting star, but the star does a 90-degree turn and goes right towards Saiki, which makes him teleport away. There's seeing an explosion in the distance. He teleports back. When he arrives, he sees something inside the crater. It's some sort of pod, which makes Saiki question, what the hell is this? The minute Saiki gets near it. But the minute Saiki gets near it, the pod opens up, and a watch jumps out into his arms, and sadly, he couldn't even teleport since it hadn't recharged. The minute it jumped on his arm, it said DNA recognized, but when Saiki tried to pull it off, he realized he can't remove it. Something happened, because some sort of dial popped up. When Saiki tried to turn it, the silhouette changed, but he still can't see it off. Then he sees a silhouette. You see, it looks some sort of weird monster. He does it to push it down, even though he has no idea why. When he does, a huge glow appears. Saiki transforms into some sort of monster made of magma. When he transforms back, when he transforms, he's shocked. The watch has either turned him into some sort of monster, but then he calms down and he realizes something. He can't hear anybody's thoughts. For the first time in 16 years, he's had peace and quiet. It's like he looks at his chest and sees the omnitrix. He himself, maybe it doesn't turn into a magma monster, then he will probably keep this. But he has no idea what it is and doesn't plan on keeping it. The thing, even though it takes away his telepathic powers, Saiki didn't see smoke. He then noticed that the gun is on fire. Saiki can't automatically tell he can't put out something made out of fire. He can also tell it won't go by itself. So Saiki tries to teleport, but he can't. So he's instead decided to create a second fire so they can snuff each other out, which works. But soon Saiki hears a group of beeps. He transforms back to normal. When he does, he hears a bunch of thoughts again, which makes Saiki question, what the hell is this thing? But Saiki needs to leave, because he already screwed up, and if he's caught with his initial powers, then with his new watch, he'd be screwed. Before he can teleport, Saiki hears something. He hears a thought of a guy screaming, asking, what the hell is that thing? Which confuses Saiki, but then he hears a thought of a little boy screaming and telling the robot to get away from him. And Saiki is shocked, hearing a thought of people getting attacked by a robot. But Saiki is not sure if he can do anything because he's too weak when wearing his emitters. But if he takes them off, who knows what will happen. But then he hears a set of beeps again, and he sees the watch turn green, which makes Saiki think to himself that this better not become a usual thing. He then teleports nearby and opens the watch and pushes it down. When he does, he turns into some sort of crystal guy. But he has no time to complain. because he soon rushes into chaos. He first grabs the little girl and gets her out of the way of the robot. Lines of fire. He then hopes that this guy is strong. He tries to push the robot, but what just happens is the robot flies away and shoots him with some sort of energy cannon. He must go flying to a truck. But as he gets back up, he notices that the crystals that were broken out where we're going. He then looks at his hand, sees it turn into a store. I'm sorry for all the background noise, my sister's crazy. He smirks. He then charges at the robot while shooting crystals at it. After a couple of hits, it stopped, but then it cut in half. Saiki put this rope, but he then notices that the crystals that were broken off is going. He looks at his hand as it turns to a sword. Then smirks and he then charges the robot while shooting crystals at it. After a couple hits, it stops shooting. Saiki stops shooting at Saiki. But then it gets cut in half. Saiki then puts his hands on the floor. He was a wall in front of a group of people which saved him from robot shooting at them. Saiki then went to attack the robot by shooting at it. And then sees the last and biggest robot. So he starts charging at it. The robot starts charging at him. But before Saiki ran into the robot, he jumped in the air and stomped them. Which makes Saiki respond by creating spikes on her body. Makes her back off, but as Saiki started to get up, he was shot by an energy beam. He tried to block it, but he ended up reflecting the light. That's when Saiki came up with an idea. When the robot tried to shoot Saiki again, Saiki blocked it, but created a ball, which reflected a beam right at the robot, which blew it up. But as Saiki finished, started to catch his breath. But then he realized something for the first time. He actually had to try at something. It was kind of fun to fight evil. But Saiki then hears people mumbling. And when Saiki realized the robot's mind reading ability, he then noticed that people were watching him and were even recording him. Then Saiki noticed something. He sees a kid start to smile. Then he screamed, thank you. As soon as he said that, some people looked at him with confusion, or looked at Saiki with fear. But then he heard somebody say thank you for saving my daughter. And more people started to cheer for him. And while this was happening for the first time started to cheer for him. And for a while, and while this was happening, for the first time in a long time, Saiki was smiling. He wasn't faking it. Then Saiki started to hear a bunch of beeps. Then Saiki saw a huge red glow. Before the glow disappeared, Saiki teleported. So nobody saw his real form. When Saiki got home, he looked at the watch and started asking himself, what is this? Because in just an hour, he found a watch that can transform into monsters. While taking his powers away, he used the transformations to defeat an evil group of robots and saved a bunch of people. But most importantly, Saiki asked himself, why is he so happy? Because he defeated an evil robot, or was it because he saved a bunch of people? But you know one thing, he knows that the thing is dangerous, that he doesn't keep it, even though he has no choice since he can't remove it, or teleport it, since there's nothing equal to this. But guys, since I want Saiki to still go to school, we're going to do a 3-month time skip. So we're now at the beginning of the anime. While Saiki is walking, here's some guy talking to a girl, and telling her that her dog is pretty cute. But he thinks he's more into girls. Then the dog gets loose and begins to run to the streets. But then a huge glow appears, and the dog was now in the lady's arms. Then she looks behind her. She noticed that there's nothing there. What she didn't notice was Saiki was now accelerate. But then Saiki rubbed the neck and thinks to himself, then he shouldn't have transformed for something like that. When Saiki then thought that, he turned and thought to himself, since he's stuck in his form for the next 10 minutes, he might as well do some crime stopping. So Saiki began to run around to look for some crime to stop. As he began to look around for crime, he remembers something. He begins to talk about how 3 months ago, about how he got this watch about 3 months ago, and how over the summer he saved a lot of people to defeat some bad guys and even some super villains. Like this one guy he met called Dr. Animal. But the thing is that over the months, he became internet famous. Every time he teleported to fight crime and transform, people would record him, and since he never revealed his true form, he would give him a superhero name, and also nicknamed his transformations like they called his crystal transformation Diamond Head, where his fast form Accelerate. Most people figured out that each one of those forms somehow knew each other. since they all wear the watch on them. When the light pierced disappeared, some people came up with theories that they're a superhero team, or they're just one hero who can transform, which became the most popular theory. But Saiki decided to went to an alleyway, and in a couple of seconds he transformed back into his regular form. And he then teleported to his house. But as soon as he teleported, he saw his mom. But he heard his dad outside, so he opened the door, and when he does, his father runs in. And when he does run in, he goes to Saiki's mom. But then Saiki's parents start arguing, because she changed locks on him, that he wanted to stick instead of leather shoe. Then Saiki's dad asked Saiki if he can use one of the transmission or power to turn into shoe into leather stick. But Saiki doesn't do anything, because he knows that if he helps his dad, he'll become more and more useless. But then Saiki's mom goes up and tells Saiki that she's proud of him for using those transformations. Saiki powers to be a hero and save people, but he shouldn't use his powers on people unless he knows they're bad. Saiki responds to telling everybody that this is his mom. She's one of the main reasons he became a superhero. But she then tells Saiki that he can use his powers on his father, which makes Saiki tell everybody that she got a dark side to her. But then Saiki's mom sees his dad eating his food. They start fighting, but Saiki doesn't care because he gets distracted by some coffee jelly, which he believes is amazing. But then Saiki's dad bumps into him and makes him drop the jelly. Before he hits the ground, he transforms to accelerate and catches it, which makes his dad respond by telling him he's been transformed from jelly, but not help him. Saiki's mom grabs a table and tries to throw it at Saiki's dad. Well, Saiki's dad is begging for help. But as she throws the table, a blue bird happens, and Saiki's dad sees the table back to normal. Saiki catches out the food, but then Saiki transfers back to normal. He said that it wasn't planning on helping. In this case, I have no choice to help, and I won't even have to use my watch. Saiki then uses force telepathy. He then explains that force telepathy can make people hear each other's thoughts. The reason Saiki did this because he knows deep down his parents love each other. So after he uses force telepathy, they realize they love each other and end up stealing Saiki's jelly. Sam Saiki doesn't do anything since he doesn't have telekinesis. But that's not important because the next day, Saiki has a school rotation. Saiki listens to the principal. He explains that he never uses his watch or Saiki powers unless he knows nobody's around. And he can make sure nobody's around by using his telekinesis. So he can sense everybody will except for Nino Ricky. Then he explains that he's too stupid to read his mind. But Saiki explains this to their friends. But Saiki can tell he's faking it. Unlike Nendo, the PE teacher tells Nendo and Saiki to come to the nurse's office. But the minute they get a view, Saiki disappears, which confuses Nendo. But then Nendo hears an explosion, so he rushes to check it out. But when he does arrive, he sees it's a tired Terashi, more like a bored and annoyed Terashi, and a bunch of scared students. Finally, a group of knights. But like an idiot, no one asks what's happening, which makes the Forever Knights rant and start saying that they are here to kidnap the maiden node of Terashi. Terashi tells them it's not a good idea because one of the heroes are going to save her, like all the time. One of the Forever Knights claims that he has a weapon that can defeat him. The minute he says that, a spike comes out the floor and destroys the weapon. The Forever Knight says, "My weapon." When he turns, he sees Saiki in Diamond Head. In Saiki's Diamond Head form. Saiki warned him, they just gave up since their superpower weapon was just destroyed. But they're still charging him. And Saiki begins to fight them. He explains that they guys are the Forever Knights. But you're probably wondering how I know them and why they want beef with them. So let me explain. Sadly, the creator is going to end the video here. So if you click like, share, subscribe, notification bell, we're also checking out Discord so you can go beyond plus ultra.